Hi everyone, and welcome back to Keep the Peace. It's finally time. We got more Ninjago Dragons Rising sets, but this time they're the January 2024 sets. First of all, before we begin, big thank you to the LEGO Ambassador Network for sending us these sets, allowing me to do these reviews, but I'm gonna give you my honest thoughts and opinions about them. Today we're gonna start with set number 71808, Kai's Elemental Fire Mech. This set has 322 pieces, goes for £24.99 or $29.99 in dollars or euros. Let's get into the review. This set comes with two mechs. First up we of course have Kai's mech, and then we have the Wolf Masked Warrior mech. We also get 4 minifigures in it. Those are Kai and Zane on the ninja side, and on the villain side we have a Wolf Masked Warrior and this weird character no one knows about. Jokes aside, it's Jordana. Let's start by taking a look at the minifigures. Left to right we have Kai, Zane, the Wolf Masked Warrior, and Jordana. Kai and Zane are wearing their new mech suits. These come with this new dual molded mask piece, which I personally really like. These remind me a lot of the old Possession style mold, but it's more modernized and I'm a big fan of this one personally. I also really like that they work with most armor pieces, even though if in this set only Zane comes with an armor piece. These figures have new printing on the torso, front and back, as well as the legs. Design wise they look like some kind of armor that goes over a more traditional gi, and they also remind me a lot of like plug suits from different mecha anime, which makes perfect sense for mech suits. They feature a golden print of their first letter of their name, as well as some nice golden metallic lining all over the armor part, and that just looks really nice to me. And they tie in well with the golden hands of these minifigures too. The Wolf Masked Warrior features a dark blue and purple gi design, and of course the new dual molded wolf mask, which is a really nice and detailed shape. It's dual molded, the teeth and eyes and the back of the mask are dark azure, while the mask itself is dark blue. The torso print features the word wolf in Ninjago, as well as these little blue blades with some metallic accent, and the print of course also continues into the legs. Jordana has a new face print that captures her show appearance perfectly. Sadly, she does use a different hairpiece from the show though. They pretty much did what they did to Gale Gossip, where they used this piece instead of the more swooshy one both of these characters have in the show. I wonder if she'll have this hairstyle in the show too. Jordana has this fur coat, which is a new recolor of that piece in sand blue. Jordana gets a bit of a different suit. It's the same one that Cinder uses in some of the other sets. This design features this wolf symbol on the chest, 2 plates here on the sides, as well as some writing that goes all the way into the legs, spelling out the words Wolf Moon. There's a lot of printing going on the legs. I really like those crescent shaped knee pads and the printing on the feet. Here's a look at the back of these figures. You can see a lot of the printing continues to the back, like the armor on Kai and Zane. On Kai you can see how it features his name written in Ninjago in some kind of stylized font. The armor on Jordana goes all the way to the back of course, and the Wolf Masked Warrior has this wolf symbol on the back. When we remove some of the accessories you can get a lot better look at some of this printing. You can also see underneath the masks the ninja have the same face prints they used in the Dragons Rising Season 1 sets. And you can see that the Wolf Masked Warrior kind of has like a mask printed on the head underneath the mask. But you can see there's some yellow printing going on. It's a human, not some kind of wolf creature. For Jordana, I put her alternate face to the front here, where she looks a lot more happy. On the back you can also now get a better look at Zane's back printing that also features his name spelled out, as well as the other faces on the ninja and the Wolf Masked Warrior. This one features glowing blue teeth and eyes, similar to the mask itself. Maybe this is some kind of powered up form. We also get a bunch of minifigure accessories of course. Kai and Zane get golden katanas, while Zane's has a spot in his armor piece. Kai's can later on fit onto the mech itself. Jordana gets this little brick build sword. I think this looks really cool. It reminds me a lot of the Hydro Whipper's blade. And the Wolf Masked Warrior gets this cool curved sword in silver. I really like the use of this. This kind of like looks like a crescent moon, which makes sense with the Wolf Moon theme. It's time to move on to the builds, starting with the Wolf Mech. I really like how this one looks. While build wise this is pretty similar to your normal SCCBS mech. Some very smart part usages like the toe ball piece for the long forearm, or these angle pieces here in the legs give it quite the different silhouette. If we rotate it around, you can see it even has a tail here on the back, while the back is not really very detailed at all though. Articulation wise, we have mixed ball joints in the shoulders and the wrists, as well as the hips and feet. The claws on the hands and feet can be posed as well, so you can get quite some cool action poses with this mech. The mech's feet have their joints raised with these longer ball joint pieces. We have some small fur details on top as well as the 2 claws here in the front and this little clip piece in the middle for some extra stability. The legs has here some slopes to give it the illusion of like some texture, maybe fur. As I said earlier, it is built on this angle piece, which is in medium azure. Sadly, the leg is a bit limited by these slopes here on the sides of the torso. This might be to make it more stable, but the legs just come off quite easily while posing. The torso uses the classic SCCBS cockpit piece, but now in dark blue with this medium azure tile here in the middle, it would have been really nice to get some printing on that. You can of course flip open the cockpit piece, and as you can see here, the torso uses this big specialized torso piece from the LEGO Star Wars mechs, which some people dislike, but I think it's integrated quite well and you don't even really see it that much. In the back here we have another little fur detail, and here those 2 studs is where the minifigure connects to. You basically just put it in there standing, and you can flip up the cockpit once again to put the minifigure in there. And I think that looks really nice, the way the wolf mask is integrated as the head of this mech. The bigger mask kind of works really well with that design in my opinion. The arms have this bigger armor piece on the upper arms. I do like the look a lot, but it does limit the posability quite a bit. We have dark azure SCCBS limbs here, and the hands in the front of course have 2 claws. I kind of wish they had 3, since the wolf mask claw warrior minifigures that use the Wolverine claw pieces have 3 claws on each hand, and this mech only has 2 on each hand of course. The tail in the back of the mech is quite simple. It's built with some curved slopes as well as cheese slopes, and it's on the mixed ball joint so you can pose it around. It's a very fun addition. Now let's take a look at the Kai mech. Generally this is a very similar build to the Sora and Cole one. I like to describe them as an upscaled version of the SCCBS mech. While the Sora one is more sleek and the Cole one more bulky, this is kind of the standard build, and I have to say I like this one a lot more than I thought I would when I first saw these. The shaping on the knees and shoulders just makes it so complete. It looks very well rounded and nice, and I'm a big fan of this. If we take a look on the back here, you can see there's sadly quite some exposed anti-studs, but nothing too bad. The mech uses the good old normal sized ball joints in the shoulders, ankles, and as well at the top of the legs. We also have posable fingers. And what's really cool is you can also just rotate the torso here in the waist. This works with this new piece that's kind of like the old Knights Kingdom ratchet joints, but it's the pin part in a 1x2 brick. With all that articulation, you can get some quite nice action poses. This is a very cool posable figure build, and you can recreate a lot of cool action scenes with this. Now let's look at this design in some more detail. The feet have this kind of 2-prong toe design, with this little red stripe in the middle and a little golden decoration. This bar here in the back kind of limits the movement of the ankle, helping it stand up easier. This foot design has a pretty big surface area, so this one stands quite well. The legs are built around 2 keyed orange SCCBS limbs. From the front you don't really see them that much, but from the side and the back you can get a better look at them. The top part uses a red SCCBS shell and some red Nexonite shields, but the knee is covered with this really nice bigger armor piece. This is a very new piece and it's connected via a bar here, so you can flip it forward and back. This piece in general just has so many good connection points. I'm a big fan of this piece. On the back of the right leg there's a little clip here where you can attach Kai's katana. I'm always a big fan when they include something like that in sets where you can put the accessories for the minifigure. The torso, as I said earlier, has the rotation in the middle. The lower torso is quite simple, and the upper part is built around this cockpit piece for Kai. This is built around the classic SCCBS cockpit, and it has this new printed 2x2 round tile here in the front with this cool dragon emblem. You can flip it open, of course, quite easily, And inside there's 2 studs here in the front where you can sit your Kai minifigure in there. Then you can flip it back up, it closes again, and I generally like using this piece. It looks quite nice the way Kai looks out of it. But if we look on the side, there's some weird gaps here. And if we look at it from the top in front of the minifigure, there's quite a lot of empty space too. There are some curved slopes here on the top to give it some more detailing or round everything off, as well as these golden angles here on the sides. The arms are built around a singular SCCBS limb piece. The top part is built with some golden ingots, Nexonite shield, and a new big armor piece to cover the shoulders. This moves out of the way quite nicely when you pose the arms, allowing for a good range of motion while looking well covered. The 4 arms use the older small SCCBS armor piece, and we have 3 fingers on each hand, of course, that can be posed individually. Additionally, the arms have these orange energy effects or fire bits. These are the lightning or ice pieces from Zane's Spinjitzu car or Jiro, but now in orange to represent fire. There's on each side one on the elbow attached with a mixel joint, making it quite posable, and one on that shoulder armor with a Technic connector where you can rotate it around. I like to imagine that these are like energy effects or movement lines for posing, making it look like it's in movement, but if you don't like them, you can also take them off quite easily. Here's a look at how the mech looks without those. The hand has a little pinhole here in the front, and this is where you can attach the sword. This is a really big sword combining that blade piece that was first introduced in Crystallized and the smaller blade piece that has been around for ages. Having a giant sword, of course, makes a lot of sense for Kai. I think this looks really cool and you can do some cool sword fighting poses with it. This mech is intended to be mix and match with some of the other mechs. Basically, what you want to do is take off the arms, as well as take off the lower half completely at the point where you have the waist rotation. And then you can just replace them with pieces from some of the other mechs. For example here, with the legs from Cole's mech. And maybe adding the arms from Sora's. You can then also switch out the weapons in whatever way you want. Maybe we want to go for a hammer and sword combo. And this is quite the fun mech. While the color schemes might not fit together very well, you can get some really fun silhouettes, really cool shaping for different mechs, and you can just experiment around and have fun. I think it's cool for a toy like this. You get a couple of spare pieces, nothing too crazy. You get a katana, an extra blade for like the weapon that Jordana has, and you have no stickers in this set, which is also very nice. Instructions is a pretty small booklet, uses those effects with the little progress bar, and in the back we have a graphic showing you how you can mix and match the mechs. This set, like the others in this wave, also comes with paper bags, which was personally a first for me. Some of the small bags inside the paper bags that carry the small pieces were still plastic, while some of them in this set were already paper, so I assume they're in the process of switching all of them over. Alright, it's time for my final thoughts and opinions about this set, and just generally, I want to first of all say, these mechs are kind of an extension of the SCCBS system. So, they use 2 of that limb piece, they use the bigger joint, and that way they just have a similar build to the SCCBS mechs we've seen before, but they're just upscaled. And this bigger scale allows for a lot more customization, for a lot more personality for these mechs, and I think that's kind of where the system can really shine. I initially from the picture thought Sora's gonna be my favorite, but now that I have them in hand, I think this Kai one is actually my personal favorite. The way the knee armor works and the shoulder armor, it's just very well rounded, it looks very complete, and I'm a big fan of this build and design. The Wolf mech is also a very solid build. It's basically just an SCCBS mech with some extra customization, but it's really good to get a conflict in the box like this and get something for the villains in this set. So I'm a big fan of this part of the set as well. So basically in the set you get 2 mechs in one set. One is like the $20 size mech that's kind of like Sora's or Cole's, and the other one is a $10 mech that's like the Zane SCCBS mech, for example. So I think price-wise this is very fair. Not just price to piece, which is good too, 322 pieces for $30, but I also think the volume and the stuff you can do with the set makes the price quite fair. I also really like the figures. I'm personally a really big fan of these mech suits. I like the new hood a lot, but I mean, Ninjago suits always a controversial topic in the community, but I'm personally a big fan of the mech suits, and Jordana looks quite cool as well. The combining feature is also a really fun inclusion. I think it's a cool idea. It makes you want to collect these mechs, and I hope we'll get more in the future to add on to this system. Overall, I just think these mechs in general are a very good evolution of the SCCBS system and a very good modern day posable action figure style set. Some people might not be happy that they don't have elbow or knee articulation, but that makes posing a lot easier, and I think especially for kids that's probably important. I personally think I would very much recommend this set. I think the price is fair. I think it's a cool mech. I think it looks good. I think you get great figures. So overall, this is a very positive opinion on my end on this set. So I would definitely recommend it. With all that, thank you so much for watching this review. Please subscribe if you want to see more Ninjago set reviews. I'm going to do all the rest of the 2024 January wave here on Keep the Peace. And once again, big thank you to the LEGO Ambassador Network for sending me these sets and letting me do these reviews. See y'all!